Hi there. Namaste. My name is Ali, and in this video I am going to answer a question that I get pretty commonly here on this channel, which is the difference between deep sleep and Yoga Nidra. As you might know, I have some recordings here on my channel that are meant to take people into a deep state of unconscious sleep. And then also I have lots of recordings here that are meant to guide people into the state of Yoga Nidra, which is the state of deep sleep with awareness. And it's a unique state of consciousness. And if you're not familiar with this, I also have another video where I talk a little bit more about this in terms of what is Yoga Nidra as a technique, as a practice, which is how it's commonly known in the contemporary world, versus Yoga Nidra as a state of consciousness, which is a little bit more congruent to the ancient teachings on this subject, the science and subject of Yoga Nidra. So, why do I have videos on my channel that are labeled Yoga Nidra for sleep? So really, these recordings, what I am doing is using some of the techniques that I use to guide people into a state of Yoga Nidra, but in a slightly different way, where there's little nuances to the sort of pace and the volume of my voice, the intonation. The pacing is a little bit slower, and there's a bunch of other techniques that are just slightly different that actually are more supportive for taking people into that deep state of unconscious sleep. So sleep itself is incredibly important, and ideally we don't want to replace our deep sleep that we're meant to be getting in the middle of the night with the Yoga Nidra practice. So therefore, I've created these recordings. They're not technically Yoga Nidra recordings, I guess, because they're meant to take people into a state of Nidra, which is just sleep. However, I'm using different techniques that I pull from Yoga Nidra techniques, and those are just modified slightly so that it's taking people into that unconscious sleep, which is so important for our overall health and well-being. And there are so many people who struggle with sleep. And so I create these Yoga Nidras for insomnia, for the middle of the night, etc. And some people end up more in a deep state of rest or a deep state of relaxation and not up and tossing and turning and stressing about being awake at night. Some people go into deep sleep. But either way, the techniques are slightly different, slightly modified from the way I would guide Yoga Nidra. Is a practice where I'm trying to guide people into that state of consciousness that is Yoga Nidra. So if you're not really understanding what I mean by that, I will link to this other video where I talk about the difference between Yoga Nidra as a state versus a practice, so that you can get a little bit more clarity around what I mean by that. Another thing that I will do in those recordings is when I start guiding people down into where they're meant to be going down into those deeper states, the directives will get a little bit more spacious, a little bit more infrequent, and gradually just go into maybe some white noise or some soothing sort of wave sounds or rain or something that's going to help people stay in that deep state of relaxation or go hopefully all the way into sleep. So there's no final phases of the Yoga Nidra where maybe we're implanting the Sankalpa or starting to guide people back and reawaken and come back out into the external world. So I just kind of guide them down, and then go into some relaxing music or something like that, just letting people hopefully drift off to sleep and then hopefully be asleep for the night, or at least in a deep state of rest or relaxation, as opposed to being stressing about being awake, which is fairly counterproductive. So if we can't actually fall into deep sleep at night, the next best thing is going to be embracing that and going into deep states of rest and relaxation where we're not actually getting really worked up or into a state of arousal or anxiety around the fact that we can't fall asleep, because some people can just start to spiral and get stressed, and then you're in a state of like pumping cortisol through your body and in like a state of arousal in the middle of the night, which is very, very counterproductive. So let me know if you have any comments or questions below. This is one of the topics that we explore inside of the Yoga Nidra teacher training, is the importance of sleep, the benefits of sleep, the ways that Yoga Nidra practice might help people even when they're practicing in the daytime and getting into those deep states of rest and relaxation that are the foundation of the practice. There are so many positive benefits of that, like the release of melatonin, which is very important for falling asleep at night. So a Yoga Nidra practice in the daytime can really complement some of those Yoga Nidra for insomnia practices that I have put out to help people with getting to sleep at night into the actual deep sleep state. So hopefully the difference there is clear. What is the difference between Yoga Nidra and the deep sleep state? And the benefits of a Yoga Nidra practice in the daytime there are so many things that can be supportive for our deep sleep and sleep cycles at night. Like, for example, a Yoga Nidra practice can give us a boost of melatonin, which we know is very supportive and helpful for sleep. So oftentimes when people take up a Yoga Nidra practice in the middle of the day, shorter practices from anywhere from 15-minute, couple of different techniques that are just calming and soothing the nervous system, maybe not taking us into a deep state of Yoga Nidra, but at least taking us into those states of relaxation, up to 40 minutes to an hour where we're going into those deeper states, and maybe even into the state of Yoga Nidra. Those states can be very supportive for people if they do them in the morning or in the afternoon. That can really help to facilitate deeper states of sleep at night as well. And I get a lot of feedback about that very consistently. So I highly recommend, if you are one of those people that struggles with sleeping at night, perhaps bringing in shorter Yoga Nidra practices in the morning or the afternoon, and then perhaps those insomnia Yoga Nidras as you're going into sleep at night. So I hope this was helpful, just a little bit about the difference between those techniques and what they're meant for and how they can support you in your life or in your guidance if you are a Yoga Nidra guide or if you are learning to become a guide in our training. If you'd like to learn more about that training, you can find the links below, download the information package. There's so much to explore in this world of Yoga Nidra, not just as a practice for awakening, but all of the incredible side effects that come along the way with a regular practice of Yoga Nidra, which the benefits are vast and so many. It's an amazing journey. It is not a quick fix, but it is a very beautiful unfolding that can take place with many cumulative effects over time with a consistent practice. So I'm excited to talk more about that with you in a future video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. So I hope that this helps you. I hope that the deep sleep practices are helpful for you in your life, or helpful for you to know about, to help others if they struggle with insomnia or sleep. And I hope that it's helpful for you to know the difference between the two different types of recordings that I put out there that really are meant for two completely different purposes. And I'll see you in another video soon. Namaste.